Okay, what's good, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. It's Entry King's weekly outlook. So, just a quick update actually before I get started. Today is a very big day because my first ever auto trader has launched. So, it's called Entry King's Handsfree. So, that's launched today, and I will be placing trades as soon as I see some really good entries. So, guys, hopefully, you guys are excited about that, just like me. It's going to be phenomenal. I've never done anything like that before. So it's just great to really finally have my own service that I can finally do things the way that I want to do them. As you know, I've been in the industry for quite a few years, and I've seen ups and downs, and I've just always had questions of why certain things happen. Why don't they happen in a way that's beneficial to people that want to learn and want to really um, just really get started and not have to worry about anything? Why do they always have to have some little hindrances that doesn't make sense to people? So everything that I do, I want it to make sense to everybody. So Entry King's Hands-Free has launched. So if you guys are not part of that, just let me know. Send me a message on YouTube, and I'll get you started as well. So that's a fully automated trading system, um, and you don't have to do anything. Once you deposit £350, then you will also get access. And that's it. Every time I trade, it's going to copy onto your account. Okay, cool. So today is the weekly outlook. This is something that I do every single Monday. And this is just to show you guys what I'm seeing in the markets and how the analysis is playing out. If it's going against what we thought, or if it's going really carrying on exactly what we thought, has some good entries. So the first thing I'm going to look at is my watch list. So on the right side of TradingView, you have your watch list, and you guys can add whatever you want there, as you can see here. So the one that I always look at first is US dollar against Canadian dollar, USD CAD. So let's have a look at that. So I'm just going to keep it very short. I want to be straight to the point so you guys can really understand what we're seeing in the market. Okay, so if you remember last week, I drew an area for where we could scalp or potentially get in for the downtrend. As you can see here, um, this blue box that we drew last week, will potentially, if you want to catch the downtrend, we want to get into this area. As you can see, however, it has broken up out of that blue box. It is hitting a previous resistance, which is, if I just draw this in right now, so it's getting close to that resistance, and it looks like it's just bouncing down from that area. So let's go on to a daily chart so you can see what's going on. We had this box drawn out saying that we think that it could come down back into the lower side of this box. But what we can see, if I draw the larger channel on the daily, I can still see that there is room for it to come down. Like whichever way you look at it, recently it has been playing in a certain area. So I'm not surprised that it bounced down and then bounced all the way back up. But if you look at the larger impulsive movements that happened earlier, it's just it's an ascending flag or channel that's been created. I am still looking for an area to catch it back on its way down. As you can see, it happened a few times before. Like, just don't be surprised. That's the weekly and the daily long-term downtrend. So it'd be nice to get a sell towards the top. That's why in this area, now you understand why I am looking for a sell somewhere in this zone. So it didn't really touch our boxes, but if we are going to get in for the sell, if we're going to stick to our guns and still hope for that analysis plays out, if I just get rid of these, so we have a clearer screen now. Okay. For us to find a good entry on the sell, we've seen the 4 hour. Let's have a look at the hourly so we can see what's going on in the markets just to get a good entry. Okay. So me personally, I would get in for a sell. I think it could bounce off this area. It's happened before. Here, it previously pushed up, went all the way back up, and it played around in this area. I think the same thing is going to happen. It had this breakdown slightly, and it's come back into this channel. So me personally, I will be looking for sells, especially for scalps around about this area. So I'm going to draw this for now. Let's look at the H4 to see if that's, yeah, I can see that as well. So I'm just going to quickly draw a box where I'll be thinking about looking for sells around about this area. And the reason why it's just simple, it's because it is at a resistance. There's another resistance here as well. So in this area would be good, even if it breaks. If it breaks out of this area, then we know that it's completely reversing and it's going back to the top. But if you want to catch it on the downtrend that we're hoping to be a part of long term, it could even touch higher. But I do think that this is a good entry, and we can see it fall from that area. So that's what I'll do with the USD CAD. I'm just going to wait for it. I don't think it's exactly in that zone yet. We can draw a channel just to be more clear so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So just to find a good entry point, I think if we are going to sell, we want to sell at the top of the channel, and it is close to that area. It's close to that area. It's getting to that area where we could potentially see a sell if it is going to go down. There's no promising to say that it's going to go down, but that's something that I'm looking at for USD CAD. That's if it abides by the long-term daily or weekly sell that we're looking at. So to see it move that way, I think it's better to wait for that area. It's a bit more concrete. If not, we have to look for a sell towards the top. But for now, I'm going to stick to my guns and look for that for a scalping zone. It is an area where I see some sideways movement potentially. Cool. So that's US dollar against Canadian dollar. And don't worry, guys, on my auto trader, I will be placing these trades. I just want you guys to understand how I think and why I'm trading. So if it makes sense to you, then you're not going to be confused of why I'm taking this trade, or why you can see a trade, or why there's a certain amount of drawdown, or why there's profit. So now you're going to understand what I'm actually thinking. Next thing, let's have a look at gold. And this is absolutely insane. And the reason I'm saying this is because exactly what I said has happened. And those of you who are part of Entry Kings will no doubt agree with all of my analysis. I said that it's going to break down to this area. It's going to touch that red line, then it's going to play around this area. This is absolutely insane to see it happen just like that. As you can see, this is the area I said we missed it here. The initial sell zone that I gave was here. That's the initial sell that I gave. Then I said, look, it's going to play around this area, the downtrend, and it's going to shoot down to the weekly support. And this is something that I drew a long time ago. I just knew that this was going to happen. Why did I know? It's just because the momentum, downwards momentum, was so strong. I thought it's making its way at least down to a support. And it broke that when I thought it has to touch the next support. And a lot of people had it on buys, and this is something that doesn't make sense to me. It's like when you see so much pressure and momentum going towards the downside, don't go against the trend just because you want to catch a reverse or you think it's gone too low. Look at the patterns in the market, look at the weekly, look at even the monthly if you have to see what's going on. Okay, cool. So let's look back at the H4. It did exactly what I said. I did have a few entries there saying that if you are going to get in for a sell, potentially get back in here. You see it's very close. It did touch the area. I don't know if anybody got in. You might have missed the perfect entry, but as you can see, the analysis, that's what matters, is are you getting the direction and are you catching these good entries, or are you preparing yourself to have low drawdown entries? The entry that we had here, very low drawdown. Any entry you had at the top here, low drawdown. Anybody who got an entry at the top here, low drawdown. The risk is low, the profits are large, and that's something that I love about the strategy that I use. It's like you're aiming for low risk. Okay, you might miss a few trades, but every trade that you get is high accuracy. And if it goes the wrong way, you can get out quickly. For example, if this broke out upwards, you're confident that you can get out this trade very early because it's going against your analysis and all the channels that you've drawn. So that's what I love about this. So that's perfect. And what's going to happen next? I really think it's going to play around in that area. So let's see what pattern it creates. Then we can decide which way it's going to go. So for now, I do think it's going to probably play around in that area. It could potentially go back up, but it did exactly what we said. And me personally, I'm just going to watch it to see what pattern it creates. See, this 4-hour candle hasn't completely closed yet as well. So let's see where it closes. So that's what I'm looking at. Potential areas. What I'm saying, it could create a channel in this area. I'm not saying that it will. It could create a channel in this area, and we can probably scalp in this area, something like that. But or even slightly higher. But we have to see what happens. Let's wait. Patience is the key. Don't just get into the trade because you don't know what's going on. What pattern has been created? What's going on? Why are you buying or why are you selling? Are you gambling, or do you actually have a strategy? So that's a question you need to ask yourself. Okay, let's now have a look at Euro USD. So as you can see, there's been some major movements. The area that we were looking for a buy, you can see it's totally been broken. And let's just look at a larger time frame to see what's happened. If you can hear some background noise, I'm just at my cousin's house. Bear with me. Okay, cool. So you can see here, we were looking for buys. We thought that the wedge is going to create an upwards movement. Just opposites happen. So in a wedge, what normally happens is it's going to have a breakout upwards or downwards. And here you can clearly see that there's been a breakout downwards. The breakout we were looking for was upwards. The reason why, because we thought that this was the daily long-term channel we thought is creating a shot upwards. But now what we can clearly see is that it's continuing downwards, and it's nothing too insane because it's still within this area. Like, it hasn't broken out this area, it's still within this area, so there's still a chance of it going up. However, what I want to focus on is this impulse. So as you can see here, so let me get rid of everything that I've drawn on this chart. I want you guys to see. So this is daily chart. So we want to see where the price is right now. So I say price right now, it's compared to the recent past, it's pretty much not the highest, not the lowest, it's in the middle. The trend that I can see very quickly, there has been it's pretty much sideways. So me personally, I would like to see this more sideways analysis here. Then it broke out. But what's the pattern that we're seeing? And that's something that we have to understand. The pattern that we can see here is, if you see that impulsive move, now it's creating like a little, how do I say it, an area of momentum. So we could be seeing a long-term is shooting down, because look at this daily impulsive, create a little flag. Anybody who gets in the top, that's a very good sell. The same thing happened within the channel. Like, if you draw another pattern within that channel, sorry, at first you won't see what I'm seeing, but eventually you will see what I'm seeing. Same thing happened here. So you can see there's impulsive moves down, and then it creates that pattern. Same thing happened here, and it goes down. So boom, what's happening on a larger time frame is also happening on smaller time frames. And even here you see the impulsive move up, and then it created a channel, it goes higher. But now what's happened is it created a wedge here. So there was a wedge created here, and it broke out downwards, and the same thing just happened right now. So impulsive move down, and what can we expect? The same thing to happen again. So this is why I'm not surprised. I was maybe expecting it to stick to this and go higher, but as you can see, that's not happened. So again, why is it going down? It's just continuing this, and we could see it come all the way down there. So me personally, again, I'm going to watch what happens. I got a larger time frame here. It could create a new pattern. So let me delete this. Go back into the H4. So for now, all I can draw is some support resistance to see where there's potential areas of it bouncing. But for now, I can see it maybe pushing its way down to this area. So if we want to get in for ourselves, I'll be waiting for some movements, maybe when it pushes higher. So for now, I'm just going to see what pattern is going to be created next. Again, have that patience and then look for our entries. But for now, we've analyzed the pattern, what's happened, why it's happening, and why we're not surprised. And now we're going to plan our next move. Euro GBP. Okay, this is insane. So This is 4 hour. We said that it's going to come down and go back up. Have you noticed how it didn't touch our zone? But it is pretty much doing what we expected. Um, can it push lower? Potentially it can, but you could even argue that it's happy with this trend. Sorry, it's happy with this pattern. Okay then, like this. But I do think there's room for it to come down. So I'll stick to that for now. It is getting close. For anybody who got in there for a sell at the top, even though I say don't sell if you're on an uptrend, let it come back down to that area so we can look for a buy. So again, on this one, we're just waiting. That looks like a nice clean entry point upcoming very soon. So let's just wait for that one. Euro JPY. Okay. So again, same thing here. If you look at on the daily, what we did say that it's going to go back up. That's what we were looking for, a buy entry. Kind of an uptrend on the weekly, but let me just do some fresh analysis so we can see what's been going on recently. Because I said I don't want to trade until they go into this area or to the top, and we were looking for buys. And let's just zoom in. I think it's better to go on a 4 hour. Add some more support resistance just to see why it's in certain areas and why it's stopping in certain areas. Because even though I think there's different strategies, I do think that support resistance, a lot of traders do use it. So that's why you see differences in movements in certain areas. It's had a big impulsive move down. That's what I'm thinking. So again, we need to see what pattern is going to be created. I'll show you what I mean. It could do something like this, go back up. So for now, and if we do get in for our buys, we want to get in for our buys around about here. So let's see what happens. It has shot back up. If it does shoot down, that's potentially what we could look at. And again, in my scalping, I'm gonna look at this in more detail. So again, potentially buys at the bottom here to see it go back up because it has gone into an area that we were thinking about. So NZD JPY. Okay, we didn't really catch the entry, but as you guys can see, that it's already played out. It's gone down to back to the bottom of the channel. So any sell entry at the top of the channel would have been really lovely, and that was not hard to spot. That was very simple. It's even kind of tightening as it grows lower, as you can see that. So I do think that it's going to come back up. If it's a big impulsive, it's going to create a pattern. It could go lower. Sorry, something similar to what we've seen with gold previously. So I think we will have to do some fresh analysis to find a new entry. But for now, I'm just going to watch that as well. Let's see if it stays in the channel. If it drops out the channel, we have to do some fresh analysis to see where it's going to go. It could go lower, but if it comes back into the channel, we'll see what happens if it abides by this channel or if it just totally breaks out. NZD JPY, sorry, NZD USD. Again, that's also shot all the way down. We were expecting it to go down because on the long-term daily channel, there was a downtrend, but there was also an uptrend. But we did see like a downtrend occurring as well. There's been lower lows. And as you can see right now, if I clear all of this, it's created a new lower low. So if I draw a new channel, actually we can see something like this forming. So we've seen it drop. Let's see what it creates here. There's been an impulsive move down. So here, impulsive move down, and then it played in this area. Then another impulsive move down. Then it played in this area. Now it's had another impulsive move down. Now let's see what happens. We could either start making its way to find a push back up, because there's also a support area here as well, and also another support area here. So we can potentially be looking out for that buy. That's something that we could potentially look out for. But at the same time, on the weekly, see that impulsive move down. It could be creating another impulsive move down. It could be creating a long term like this. So that makes sense. So that's something that we can see as well. So guys, keeping that into consideration, if it just shoots and breaks down, don't be surprised, because all that happened was there was a weekly impulsive, and then it just created a little flag, little channel, and it shut down. Okay, so don't be surprised to see it shoot down or continue shooting down. But what we're looking for right now is temporarily, it hasn't broken this area, so it could also play in this area and create a little channel and go back up. So again, I'm going to watch that. I'm not going to take any risk. That if I'm not certain, then why would I trade it? USD JPY. Let's have a look at this. Here's something similar. So it didn't really hit our entry points, but it did follow the areas that we were looking for it to go down. We're saying get back in for a sell towards the top of this, because we think it's going to shoot down. It's creating like a downtrend. Sorry, it was an uptrend, but on a weekly or daily, sorry, you can see a long-term downtrend. I'm sure all of you guys can see that. This is why I'm saying we're going to get in for a sell. If you go back onto the 4 hour, on the 4 hour, there's also an uptrend. This is why I'm saying there's potentially a chance it could go higher. So maybe getting for a sell again at the top. But as you know, it's broken out the trend, so it's supporting our analysis of the daily downtrend. So we're going to catch a area to sell again for the next few hours. Potentially, let's move this slightly lower. We can get in for a sell around about here. Might have to wait for a bit, or you might have missed it. You might want to take a riskier entry at the top of this, somewhere down here. For me personally, I do think that if it is going to go all the way down, let's wait for it to test that area back again. So okay, so that's something that I'm waiting for. So I'll just move it slightly lower. That's my new entry point I'll be looking for. Again, I'll be waiting. Reserved, low risk, more according to my strategy. So more confidence. You can use higher lots, and then you can exit if it comes back into the channel. Could be making its way back up. But that's something that I'll be looking at for USD JPY. UK 100. Again, it's shot all the way down. I did draw this area. I don't know if you guys can remember, to get in for a buy. It is in that area, so it's looking promising. Could it push lower? Let's create an impulsive move down. Again, there's nothing too surprising. I'm going to change some of these pictures just to really complement what we've seen recently. So I do think there's a chance that we're going all the way back up to the top of the channel. But at the same time, it might go lower. So I'll move my entry point slightly lower, because I do think that it's, if you look at the daily, I know it's all mucky, but you have to try to understand what's going on. So you see, like, there's a big impulsive shooting straight up, create a flag. We're looking for it to create a new high. As you can see, it always creates new highs. You can see that high, create a new high, new high, new high, new high. Now we're looking for a buy to get in for the next new high. But we have to be patient. It's not going to just happen overnight. We have to plan our entries. This is why I'm saying toward the channel, getting toward the bottom. I'll keep an eye on it. This is something that I'll be keeping an eye on for the auto trader, potentially getting in. I might even get in on UK 100 today. It just depends what I'm seeing and how I'm seeing that. So this analysis pretty much is the same, not too much changes. Still playing in that area, looking for buys at the bottom. Nothing to say that it's broken out and it's going to go the opposite way. So for now, I'm still confident in that buy. Just make sure you get in low as possible, maybe towards the bottom of these, at the bottom of the support or trend lines, whatever you want to call it, however you trade. Just make sure you get in towards the bottom, and then you get in for the buy. So that's what I'm seeing in my watch list so far. That was a quick overview of what I was seeing. So guys, make sure you guys do your own analysis. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything that I won't do. Stay reserved. Stay like minimize risk. Also in your mindset. Also in your entries, because that's what Entry Kings is all about. It's all about waiting. So when you do have that trade, you can take a screenshot of it because you waited. It was something that you planned, and you got a sniper entry because you literally had that patience. Other people might be getting in the middle of the markets, literally with no analysis, just making profits and losses, but thinking that they're good at something, but they don't really have a strategy. What Entry King is all about is making sure we understand why we're entering the market and what we're looking for. And if we don't get what we were looking for, why? Like, everything needs to have a reason. So that's the way you're going to learn, and that's the way you're always going to get better. So guys, thank you so much. This is going to be uploaded onto YouTube as soon as I can. Entry King's Handsfree has been launched. Tonight we will have a session. I'll confirm. So I did this a bit early because I wasn't sure if I can make it. But tomorrow definitely we have the mindset. And Wednesday and Thursday the scalping sessions. I will confirm later on today if we have the one today as well. So guys, thank you for taking out your time and listen to this call. Hopefully you guys get some nice entries. If you guys make some good money, let me know, and I'll share it with my Instagram. Thank you. Take care and have a good day.